So I'm one of those people that HRT is not for, and I wish I'd known some of the things that I could do for myself. One of the biggest things that we can do for ourselves is limit stress, because stress in our bodies really flips our body so it doesn't work very well, and it makes the menopause symptoms much, much worse. So if you can minimize stress, you're going to do a lot of good for yourself straight off. Not always easy. And I remember my GP kept saying to me, you need to reduce your stress. And I keep looking at her, smiling, going, yeah, not possible. But actually, do you know what? It probably was. And I needed to think about that. The other thing we need to really focus on as well is sugar in our diets. So by that, I mean things like simple carbohydrates. So not just sugar, the amounts of pasta and white rice and things like that we might eat. If you are consuming large amounts of potato, etc., at certain times in the day, particularly, you're going to get these sugar spikes in your blood because we're less able to manage our sugar levels as we hit perimenopause. Those sugar spikes are going to add stress, and I've already said reduce stress. So those are really simple things you can do. But then there are things that we can do with our diet. And one of the most important things is to eat a kind of a Mediterranean style diet, but really make it simpler. Just consider a plate. And if you take your plate, you want half of that plate to be in brightly coloured vegetables. And then a quarter of it to be a protein source. And eat on a regular basis things like fatty fish, because they will give you the omega-3 and the omega-6 that you need and that your body needs. And then the other quarter needs to be your carbohydrates. So that's what your plate needs to look like. And if in that plate, you can also have things like foods that give us phytoestrogens, because that will help us because we're absorbing some form of estrogen. And those are things like seeds, grains, but also foods like garlic, parsley, and celery and fennel. So it's edamame, soya, chickpeas, etc., those sorts of things, and things like chia seeds as well. I mean, I add a spoonful of chia seeds to my porridge every morning because little things, and they don't make a difference to the taste, but they're there and they make a difference to your diet. Ground flax seeds, the same. If you add those sorts of things, you're adding the sort of foods that will help. There are some things that people suggest to try in terms of alternative medicines. There's very limited evidence for any of those. However, my view is, so for example, taking omega-3 and vitamin E, and taking evening primrose oil and those sorts of things. My suggestion is, don't think that they're the magic pill necessarily, but if they work for you, they work for you. So, but be careful, because some of the things that are out there aren't as good for you as they should be. So even though they're things that you can buy at the health food shop, it might be worth checking in with your GP, particularly if you're on medication, just so you can tell that they're not interfering with your medication, because there are a number of these things that interfere with other medications. But yes, there are things out there that you can do. Mainly, I'd focus on diet and stress.